guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Sarah, also known as Laugh Love Langella, and in today's video we are going to be continuing the floral styling series covering kitchen island arrangements, your dining table, as well as nightstands. If you missed my last two videos, my first one was small arrangements like tabletop, side tables, kitchen counters, and coffee table styling. The second video covered entryway tables, so I will have both of those videos linked down below in case you missed out on them. But real quick before we head into the video and styling stuff, today is the 14th, but tomorrow is going to be February 15th, which is my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, which is super exciting. And I just wanted to take a quick moment and just say thank you guys so much for your ongoing support of my channel over this year. It has been such a journey and such a blast, and I just really appreciate all your guys' comments and support and getting to connect with you all. But I would really love to know where it was that you originally found me. Was it here on YouTube? What video were you watching? Was it over on Instagram and you came over? Leave me a comment down below. I would love to know all about it. Again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your support. And without wasting any more time, because let's be real, I'm gonna get chatty, let's head into some floral styling. Okay, so we are going to get started with the kitchen island arrangements part of this video. I'm just going to be doing two different versions. So they're going to kind of mimic, in a sense, the coffee table styling ones that we did if you checked out the first video of this series. But I'm going to be doing them in two different vessels that are much bigger than the coffee table ones. So that way you can see how it translates into a bigger arrangement and how I might do things a little bit differently. So this one I got from my grandmother last year or something. And I'm pretty sure that this is the afloral one because it looks exactly the same. And grandma has great taste, so I wouldn't doubt that at all. But this one is a very deep bowl. It's also very wide. So I can't necessarily do the same little asparagus bush that I was using before. So I'm going to be using some tape. And so that is a really great tip if you have a really big vessel that you're going to be using, whether it be a vase, a pot, a bowl like this, is that you can actually take some regular tape. You could do floral tape as well. I'm not, because I'm intending to leave this on and I don't want it seen. So that's why I'm using the clear tape. But you'll just take it and create like a grid pattern. And that way you can more specifically arrange your floral stems and not have them just falling all over the place. So floral tape and just regular tape from your junk drawer is perfect when it comes to floral styling. Another option that you can do, which I will be using in the second one, is chicken wire. So you can do this floral wire. I have some other wire just running through it to give it more of a shaping. The only thing to keep in mind when working with this is that it is very sharp and you have to cut it, so you have to be careful when you're using this. But you can see that little netting, that's exactly where you're gonna put your stems in. So we're gonna start off with the first one with the tape, and we're going to do some beautiful white cosmos and eucalyptus for this one. So for this arrangement, I'm going to be using both the white and the cream cosmos from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to get them stuck, as always. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to bend my stem and then kind of like give it like a harsher curve to be able to put it into the tape, as so. And you might need to finesse it a little bit because it's gonna wanna go all over the place. But you can see how this stem is already wanting to just come bounce up. So if we weren't doing this, you would have stems falling all over the place. So we're gonna push these in, as so. Bend them down a bit. And the fine tuning and stuff can be done after you get all your stems in, but we're just gonna go around and do our base row of these.
So I will say I definitely could have gotten away with spreading the tape out a little bit wider, so I would recommend that if you are going to go ahead and use this technique.
And now I have some of these eucalyptus stems from Amazon that I got quite some time ago. They are not something that I tend to use on their own, but I will use them in an instance like this and in our next arrangement to help give it a filler piece.
So now I'm going to go in and add in the other 2 Amazon eucalyptus stems, and then I'm just going to layer in the remaining Cosmo stems that I have, working my way more towards the center of the grid and letting them stand up a little bit taller.
Okay, so here is where we are at now. There's still a little bit of gap happening. I probably should have picked a more full floral, but I do actually have these other eucalyptus stems. So we're just gonna take these and just place them in the gaps to help close this up a little bit more. And this is supposed to be a wispy arrangement. I just don't want it where you can see the grid immediately kind of thing. And again, you can just keep manipulating and manipulating until you get a better fullness that you desire. So I'm super happy with how this turned out. It is super, super big. So you could see like the difference of this one and the coffee table. This one is much, much wider. You don't need to be making massive floral arrangements if you don't want to. I just really enjoy mine being a big statement piece. So I really, really love how it turned out. I love having it on a Lazy Susan too, because the Lazy Susan is a functional item in the kitchen, but it's also a great styling moment. That's why I use a cake stand as a riser for my entryway table. I like the texture it brings and the height it gives my vase, but it's dual purpose and I don't need to store it in a cabinet or something. I can leave it in plain sight. So that's just like one of those like random things that like not everybody knows or like chooses to do, but it does actually make sense. At least to me it does. But yeah, I absolutely love how this turned out. Grandma, if you're watching, let me know how I did with your bowl. But I'm really happy with this because I've never done one with the Cosmos like this before. I would say that I would like to have more florals for this one. I'm not gonna do that because like I mentioned before, I have too many florals, but now we are going to get into our second kitchen countertop. Wow. Second kitchen island arrangement using a concrete bowl that I DIY'd a while ago. So the next arrangement we're going to do is in this concrete bowl that I had DIY'd probably a year ago now. Or no, actually just shy of a year. It was a bowl I found on clearance, actually 70% off at Target. And I wanted to create a dupe for a Pottery Barn one. And I really am happy with how it turned out. It is really, really big. So this is one of those that you could definitely do floral foam. I can't use the tape because the concrete won't let it stick, but we are actually going to be using chicken wire and just kind of creating a ball to have it sit in here. I will say that this one tends to fall out, so just make sure that you're positioning your stems balanced, and I'll share with you guys how I do that. Okay, so this one we are going to be using some peonies, some dahlias, I have more of those afloral ones, and the eucalyptus I used in the last arrangement actually. And the best way to start off when you're using multiple florals is start off with the biggest statement ones first, and then add in your smaller components. So I will say when you're using the chicken wire, you notice I actually have some bigger holes cut so that I can more properly, I can fit the bigger stems properly. That was hard to say. Because otherwise it was giving me such a hard time last year. So that's why I cut out a few bigger holes to be able to put these in. But for a bowl like this, bend your stem up a little bit so that way when you position it, it will lay a little bit more flat on the bottom and it will give your stem some height. So if you can see, this white one is dangling and the other one is upright.
So now I'm going to continue placing the larger stems for our bottom row.
Now I will say the part that makes it difficult is when you get into the middle, all the stems end up there. So you just have to do your best to work around that. But now we're going to be adding in that same base eucalyptus that I did before. And I'm going to put this in between the flowers. So that is our first layer. Our first layer is this whole, where are we? There we go. This whole bottom part here. And now we're going to be adding in some of these afloral ones. And I'm keeping them a little bit shorter of a stem at the bottom, just so we can have them not go out so far. I want them to be a little bit closer and tighter to the actual arrangement. And this is how this arrangement turned out. This one's absolutely massive, but I just love how full and bright it is. And I like the contrast of the darker bowl, sorry. I like the contrast that it provides for this vessel. Now you definitely can do more florals, less florals, more greenery, whatever it is that you prefer. But I like, just like when I did the coffee table one, I like having different stems. Now, I didn't use some of the ones I did in the entryway in this one because they are really big stems and I prefer to use them in my entry arrangement, so I didn't want to break them. So that's why I have these other ones. Sorry, this is heavy. These ones are actually from Hobby Lobby. Then these peonies are from Afloral, but Michaels and Etsy also sell them at a more affordable price, so I will have those linked below. These dahlias are from Michaels a few years ago, but I'm sure there's something similar. This is that same Amazon eucalyptus, and then some of the other stems I already had. But I think it turned out so lovely. So for our first arrangement, we're going to be starting off with some lawn leaf eucalyptus. Now you can see this has a very wide opening on it. So what I'm going to do is grab a smaller crock to put inside of it. And that way it will help gather all the stems a little bit more. I'm also going to just fold this slightly more. so we can gather our stems in better. Like so, and then we'll just separate the stems a little bit to create more fullness. Like that. And then I have these white and pink peonies from Michaels actually, and they have a beautiful, beautiful one I saw recently. It's almost like a beige color. And so we're gonna be adding both the pink and the white in here. And I'm just going to alternate when I do each one. So that way it helps create a little bit of balance in the arrangement. And I do have a couple more white ones than pink ones, and that's totally fine. And just make sure you're going through, and the same with the eucalyptus, just separating the stems out a little bit from each other, so they blend in a little bit better. Okay, now we are going to change up the vase and everything. So this next one, this vase is actually a DIY that I did, again for a Pottery Barn Look for Less moment, and I really want this to be a really nice statement one, so I'm using these smaller cherry blossom stems. I actually shared these recently in a designer Look for Less. These were from Michaels. And I'm just going to move, again, all the branches away from each other. And I'm just going to be using 3 of them, because that is what I already have. I wasn't going to go pick up more florals, but I wanted a simple statement. If you guys really like the cherry blossoms, I did opt to keep these ones instead of the Hearth and Hand, because these ones are really budget friendly and still look beautiful. And I feel like the Hearth and Hand ones were just really overpriced in my opinion. If you love them, absolutely go for it, but I just wasn't convinced, so I opted to keep the more budget-friendly one while still being able to create a beautiful statement arrangement. And the last one, we're going to be doing something really, really different. I have this really large dough bowl that was from House and Home last year. And we're going to try to do something with this. So I'm going to be using that eucalyptus that I did in the kitchen island arrangement. And then we're also going to be using the cosmos as well. And I'm just going to lay them down where they are coming off the sides on the end there. And I'm going to do that on both sides first to create a base.
Then I'm going to continue layering it the same way with an additional cosmos stem on each side, having it come in towards the center of the dough bowl more, so that way we are filling up the space.
And then just keep layering the cosmos, making sure that you're moving your eucalyptus as needed. Move some cosmos to the side. And then we're going to stick one last cosmo in the middle and just have all of these florals really coming upright and just kind of moving them so that they can cover the center a little bit better.
And now I'm grabbing more of those other eucalyptus stems to create more fullness in the arrangement. Let me know what you guys think about this arrangement. This is very different than anything I have done before, but I figured I'd give it a try because sometimes people have like a console table under their TV or something and they just need something shorter. And this is great too because it won't block you from being able to talk to your guests too. But definitely leave me a comment down below. What do you think?
So now we're moving on to our nightstands, and we're going to treat these the same way we did with the entry table, where we're just focusing on the front of it and we're not putting too much we're actually not doing anything on the back. And for the sides, I'm just being careful that I'm not going to like run into the lamp. And this one we're just keeping really, really minimal. And this is what I like to do for early spring. I'm just gonna move this one, whacking the wall there. Yeah.
So for the magnolia arrangement, I used 3 in this smaller vase. And then I did the same on the other side. This one is slightly larger and I fit 4. And because this one is so large, I actually have a smaller crock in here. That's just a great tip if you're styling a really wide vase to not need to use so many stems, is to put a smaller vase or a crock of some sort inside of it. So that way you don't need to spend a ton of money getting florals, but can still achieve a symmetrical look as such.
So now we're going to move on to the next one. These twig and leaf, branches from Hobby Lobby. This is one of them by themselves. I love these. These are in their regular floral section. And these are another one where it has really thick wire, so you can just manipulate it all around. And then you can see this is standing straight up. Mine have been all crimped up because I've had them in a box, but I'll just ever so slightly start to like pull them slightly away. And then because I want this one kind of cascading to the side, I'm going to just gently arch the whole branch. So when it sits in here, it has a nice natural curve happening to it. And I'm going to do that for each of them. So the tip 2 for measuring out like how long to make it is to put it next to your vase. Now I have a crock inside of here, so I'm just going to make mine slightly shorter than that to be able to properly fit my branches.
So now I will continue to do the same thing for the remaining branches.
Now this last one I'm going to be adding in here, I'm making this one shorter than the rest of them because it's going to be standing in the back. And we wanted it to just kind of sit up a little bit better rather than being straight up. So this is a perfect transitional styling to do before you're ready to bring in all the florals for spring. I love that it just has that whimsical touch. It's very nature-esque. You could achieve a similar look just grabbing branches from your yard, but I absolutely love these. Okay friends, now we are moving on to the last nightstand styling, and we are going to be using these beautiful beige and taupe Cosmo stems. I have, I believe, 5 to use on this one. And these ones are super flexible. Just make sure in order to create a really nice fullness that you pull the stems apart slightly. And then you want them to have just like a natural curve bending. So we'll do that. So we have one of the darker ones there. So the next one we are going to do is going to be a lighter one because we wanted to not end up by accident where we have lots of dark and lots of light clumped together. So it just creates a little bit more balance in the arrangement to alternate them. And I don't mind, like if mine really fall over like this, I'm really okay with that. If you don't, you can always like fold them and tuck them back even more. But I like this look. So now we'll do a dark one. And then the same as that other one, we're gonna have the back ones be slightly, well, the middle back ones be slightly shorter because otherwise it's going to like run straight into the lamp and the mirror and everything. So it's just gonna create a better look. And then once all your stems are in, you can see like these ones are laying really straight right now. So I'm just gonna pull them apart a little bit more than they already were. Anything that's sticking too upright for my liking, I'll bend them and just kind of manipulate them all around to create more balance in the arrangement. But this is my favorite styling to do when it comes to spring decorating. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel today. I hope you've enjoyed this floral styling series so far. It's been really fun to be able to see where we can take things, what we can do. I'm only working with stuff I already have, but all of this can be applied if you have a certain type of floral that you really love. The same principles and tips can be applied to those. So I really hope that you guys are enjoying and getting some decorating inspiration from this. Again, if you missed the first 2 videos of this series, I will have them linked down below so you can check them out. As always, thank you guys so much for your support, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.